Hello and welcome to Rockies Recap. My name is Steven. Right there is the co-host Tom. Tom, how are you doing?
Pretty good. I was in attendance in the stands for one of the greatest probably the biggest upset in college football this season, and probably
Yeah.
one of the biggest upsets of all time. That's right, folks. I was in South Bend in the
Mhm.
stands at Notre Dame Stadium to witness NIU upsetting Notre Dame.
Yeah. Again, it was crazy. I didn't tune into the game, but I saw the highlights of it, and it was cool to see the coach who played for the school, and he was emotional. That was
Mhm.
that was awesome. Um, I mean, I watched a little bit of the Colorado and Nebraska Cornhuskers game. Colorado did not look good whatsoever.
I'm not sure. I'm not. I I'll reserve my
Yeah.
I'll reserve my
Yeah.
words and comments about Dion and what the program, what the
Yeah.
future, what I think the future of the program is. So
Yeah, I'm gonna do that as well. I mean, I was kind of hyped last year, but I don't know, the hype has kind of gone away from me. And I'm not
it's
really yeah, it's gone down. And then for Colorado State, I really don't like Colorado State either. Again, I'm
uh,
not a I've told many people this, and I might even share it on the show. I'm not a big college football guy. I'm not. I mean, I like to get into it, but I'm just not that type of guy. I'm more of a pro guy. Um, Michigan is okay. Again, I have family from Michigan. Um, my grandparents, they live like 15 minutes away from the stadium in Ann Arbor, so it's just like it's cool, but college football isn't for me, I guess. I mean, I did watch the championship game last year, Michigan, and was it who was playing Michigan in the championship game?
oh
It wasn't
Wisconsin.
Washington.
What it was Washington.
Oh yeah, that's right, because Penix, he was in the quarterback. Yeah,
Michael Penix.
yeah, and but yeah, I mean, I think week one, Colorado State got beat up, like they got shut up by, was it Texas, right? I think it was Texas they were playing. I
Say
need to check. I think it was
oh
they were playing Texas. Colorado State was playing Texas, if I'm looking correctly.
I'm not sure. Well, yeah, it was
Yeah.
the final score of the championship was, yeah, I remember Michigan just pummeled Washington 34-13.
Mhm.
And then of
Yeah.
course it was exciting for me because for those who don't know, me being a Notre Dame fan, it was awesome to see Michigan get pummeled by Texas this weekend. But also, just real quick for those who don't know, if you want to check out my profile, I went to Northern Illinois, but I've been a Notre Dame fan since I was 5, so it was an enjoyable game for me. But
Mhm.
I'm satisfied with the outcome. Notre Dame played awful. NIU, I'm very proud of my alma mater. They did great, so it was awesome to be in attendance for it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I again with Dion, it's just I'm
We'll
just
see what happens. I'm not sure if
I
it's gonna
don't
work
know.
out. Yeah.
I think I got to agree with you, but the problem is, it's just like with the Rockies and Chris Bryant. How much guarantee money will Colorado have to pay Dion if they kick him out?
Mhm. Yeah. That's gonna be a conversation that will definitely be talked about because the season is winding down for the Colorado Rockies. Um, Yeah, I mean, again, good weekend for Rockies. I mean, I did watch a little bit of the NFL. Maybe if you're a Broncos fan, maybe not so much. But hey, it's week one. But and for a lot of teams in the NFL. So, but anyways, for the Rockies, I had a good weekend. The Rockies, they played very very well. Tom and me, we were texting back and forth over the week, over the weekend, talking about how this was a good series. I mean, it wasn't like no, this was a darn fought, good, well fought series for the Rockies. And again, this is a team that the Brewers. They're one of the best teams in the National League. Of course, they're leading the National League Central by a number of games, right? And the Brewers, they're playing good baseball coming into the series against the Rockies. Rockies actually played a pretty good series, like we talked about last time, against the Atlanta Braves, despite losing the series. But still, the Rockies stayed competitive. The Rockies were competitive in this series against the Brewers. We saw it. Game one, amazing. Toglia had that big 3-run home run, which was the difference there. But you got to mention Brenton Doyle's catch, man, in the and throw in the ninth inning. That was just, I was watching the game. I was on my Xbox, and I was just looking at the screen, and watching the game. I'm like, did he actually do that? And I looked at the replay. I'm like, oh my word! Like he was able. I mean, again, it's incredible. I'm running out of words to talk about Britton Doyle, man. He's so good defensively, and he really helped the Rockies win that game. It was a little nerve wracking there. I mean, Tyler Kinley was, I think he gave up, I want to say, I think it was a walk or a base hit. But I mean, the Brewers, they've had a lot of walk offs. I feel like in the last several years against the Rockies in Milwaukee, and it was just one of those games, just like, please finish this out. Bretton Doyle, he was the guy in charge. He single-handedly took down the Brewers in Game 1. So that was crazy. And like I said after the game, we put up on our Instagram story that you're gonna see that highlight on our top 5 moments of the year for sure, guaranteed. It might be number 1. We're not gonna spoil it for you, but it could be number 1. We'll see. But Game 1 was fantastic. It was low scoring, very competitive by the Rockies, which we love to see, especially late in the season. When the season's winding down, you're just ready to finish the year after a pretty tough several months of the year. Game 2, again, competitive. I mean, it wasn't a good start for Ty Block, though, who's really struggled this year. Hasn't played a whole lot, hasn't pitched a whole lot, but, in the times he pitched, hasn't done well. But, and one thing we're going to talk about a little bit, Tom, is the bullpen tonight, because going back to the Braves series, too, maybe even the series before that, the Baltimore Orioles series, the Rockies, their bullpen has actually been pretty darn good. I mean, decent, right? I mean, seeing Seth Halverson, Chiavelli, Peralta, Luis Peralta, some of the young guys in the bullpen, some of the young guns, they've been really, really doing a good job, especially given their first times in the big leagues and, August, September, playing against competitive postseason teams. This is what you'd like to see. And the Rockies, they did that against the Braves, and they did this in a series against the Brewers. And not to mention, shout out to a follower of our page, Jaden Hill, for making his Major League debut in Game 2. And he pitched a good inning. He had a 1-inning appearance, but he pitched well. Rockies did lose Game 2, 5-2. Brewers offense, they had a number of guys, get on base, drive in some runs there. But really, the bullpen has been one of the nice things to see for the Rockies over the last, I don't know, over the last, again, like the last week or so. And then Game 3, which was yesterday, I guess everybody was focused on the Denver Broncos game and the NFL kickoff, which I guess was exciting because, for a lot of us, we're big football fans. But for me, I was intrigued in this game because it's like, hey, this is the Rockies. They could do something fun here in Game 3. The Rockies could take the series. It's not looking pretty. They're going up against a pretty tough pitcher in Freddie Peralta, who I feel like, like a lot of pitchers in baseball have had good success against the Rockies. But, Hunter Goodman, he got a home run. Michael Toglia, excuse me, not Michael Toglia, Sam Hilliard, he got a big 3-run home run, which was also the difference in Game 3. Kyle Freeland, though, he was nails on the mound. Kyle Freeland, he's been unbelievable. And again, there's a bunch of guys that you can name on the Rockies rotation, whether it's Kyle Freeland or Cal Quantrill, that have really stepped up for the Rockies this year. Austin Gomber, too. And you just got to love what you saw from not Austin Gomber, Cal Freeland yesterday. And overall, it was just a really, really nice series to see for the Rockies, just for a little bit of a change, because, again, this year has been bad. But seeing series like, the Rockies against the Braves and against the Brewers here, it was just really nice to see as a Rockies fan.
Oh, sorry, I had trouble turning my mic back on.
Oh, you can.
The one thing, not in just addition with Kyle Freeland being so lights out, you could say, though, I had to double check this before I spoke just to be sure that I'm seeing it correctly. Because in Game 1 there was of course a run scored by the Brewers, but it was unearned, so I had to be sure that I got this right. The bullpen, all bullpen pitchers in this series gave up 0 earned runs, 0, which I think is key. And I'm not saying that with or without Christian Yelich, the Brewers are a juggernaut offense by any stretch, but they're talented. I mean, Jackson Chourio has I would say a great rookie campaign, so don't underestimate him, and we'll see how he does in October. But, I mean, you and I have been talking about this all year. I'm sure all Rockies, our followers and other Rockies fans saying, the Rockies bullpen sucks. Cut Kinley, throw, blah, blah, blah. What was I going to say? Someone actually did say, Victor Vodnik's not a closer. Come on. I wanted to seriously just poke back at him, but I didn't feel like getting into a Twitter battle. But no, I mean, this season, the bullpen showed up. And like I said, the only guy who just really had struggle finding his command was Ty Block, which he was DFA'd yesterday, was it?
Yeah. Again, I feel like he's been DFA'd like 3 times this year at least.
I know it's at least 2.
Yeah.
Because I think he was a late add to the 40 man in the early part of the season. So I don't know how that was, but anyway, So, but yeah, and Freeland, I have to double check. See, I have to. I'm going to check and see. Not tonight, but later. How many now quality starts he has? Because ever since he got back injured, I think his first 7 starts back from injury, I think he had 6 quality starts.
Mm-hmm.
But again, this is a good series, and I gotta say, in that catch in game 1 for Doyle to end the game. First of all, when are people going to learn? Don't run on him. When are they going to learn? When are we going to learn? It's Brent
and Nolan
Doyle.
Jones too. You can add Nolan Jones in there.
Sure,
too.
correct. But it's just we haven't been seeing Nolan Jones, and
Yeah.
just he's been hurt much lately, which hopefully he's doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing I was concerned about is I was like, oh bleep, please don't collide with Jordan Beck, because for a second I thought they were going to collide with each other.
Yeah.
I was nervous, and then I hope Jordan Beck's feelings weren't hurt, because he
see his face.
He was looking up and they went.
Yeah, he's like, bro, I was gonna catch that,
dude. I'm right here.
Yeah.
But I hope everything's good with them. But all in all, well, it's not the funniest instance like that I've seen. I can give you a White Sox example, but still glad they're both okay. And heck, it was a hell of a way to end the game.
Yeah, it was crazy. Again, like the face by Jordan Beck was like, bruh, I was gonna catch that, man. I was about to show off my arm, but if I had again, I love Jordan Beck, but if I had to pick a guy to gun a guy down at third base, I'm going with Brent Doyle all day. I mean, you can go with Nolan Jones too. I mean, Nolan Jones, had was it 105 or 101 throw last year? I think it was against the Braves at Coors Field, and throughout, I think Acuna or Albies.
It was
one of those two.
Jones. No, I think he did both. He did Acuna at home, and then Jones was second base.
Okay,
Albies was second base.
Yeah. And so, if you had an option, of course, Beck would probably be 3, and then definitely Doyle 1 and Jones 2. But again, you could put either or at number 1. But again, incredible, just like wow, like that. I think I want to say somebody actually commented on our Twitter /X the other day that was actually on ESPN's top 5, if not number 1 play of the day.
It should
be. Yeah. I mean, again, like you don't see that. I mean, he was in deep. I mean, it wasn't like deep, but it was in deep center field, and he made deep right center field, for instance. I mean, to gun the guy down, and it didn't really bounce. It went straight to McMahon's glove. I'm like, he didn't make that throw. Those were the words that came out of my mouth. I'm like, he didn't make that throw. He didn't. And I'm like, are you serious? And yeah, it was just, and it wasn't even close. It wasn't like, oh, he could have gotten his hand in there. No, it was like right on the money. And yeah, it was just, again, it's incredible. And don't be surprised if that's going to be on our top 5 moments of the year coming later this year once the season ends.
No, it was in time. It wasn't like it was close to where they had to go to replay review. It was on the money, and like you said, it was on the fly.
Yeah, and I mean, it wasn't enough for it clearly not to overturn the call, because there has to be pure evidence to overturn it. There was 0 evidence. There was like not even close. I mean, like it was. Yeah, again, the play wasn't even close. So again, don't run on Doyle or Jones for that matter. Just don't. But yeah, like defense in the series, phenomenal. Really like to see it. Overall, like we said, very competitive. And I pointed out to Tom, and then we kind of briefly talked about it before we started. But the Rockies, their current win total at the moment is 54. And last year, Tom, the Rockies finished at 59 wins. They finished with a record of 59 and 103. So the Rockies, they need 5 more wins to tie, 6 more wins to break last year's win record. Is it doable? I think it can. However, it's not going to be easy. It might take the rest of the way of the season to do that. But like we said, it's not easy. Like they have an upcoming 3-game series against Detroit, who they're going to, Detroit trying to push in the playoffs. Will they make it? I don't think so. That's just my opinion. But then they have a 3-game series at home against the Cubs. I think that could be winnable. And the Cubs, they haven't really had good success at Coors Field, but again, I could be wrong, and they might sweep the Rockies at Coors Field. Hopefully that's not the case. Then they play 3 against the Diamondbacks, 3 against the Dodgers in Los Angeles. And by the way, that will be the last 3 games on the road this season. So really the Rockies, they have 6 games left on the road. The rest are at home. And then they have, let me see here, 6-game homestand, 3 against the Cardinals, 3 against the Dodgers. So yeah, I mean, 6 games, I think it's doable, Again, it's going to be tough. I think it's definitely doable. And again, I've said this multiple times this year. It doesn't really matter if the Rockies have 100 losses or 101 losses or 98 losses. The Rockies still had a bad year, still a bad team. But I think if they it would be much more fulfilling if the Rockies get at least 1 or 2 more wins than they did last year. That would tell you, okay, there's something to build off of, right? I mean, the Rockies, there's a chance. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. There's a chance that they could maybe, if they get hot, avoid 100 losses. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's possible. We'll see. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but the Rockies, they've been playing competitive baseball against postseason type teams, and teams above 500, which has been the theme all year long. It's very weird how the Rockies, they haven't been playing well against teams that are horrible, and they've been competitive, and if not won the series against a bunch of these teams that have been playoff competitive. So that's what you like to see, and I think the Rockies are trending in the right direction. I think we're seeing that right now. As we finish out the show tonight, the Rockies, they have an upcoming 3-game series in Detroit to finish out the road trip. And again, the Rockies, after this series against Detroit, they only have 3 more road games, and that's going to be a 3-game series in LA. It's a very quick road trip, which, again, I don't know who made the schedule for Major League Baseball. Like, come on. So anyways, they have a 3-game series against the Tigers, who are, again, trying to get into playoffs. They are 73 and 71. Games 2 and Game 3 will be a little bit tough for the Rockies. They're going up against Screwball in Game 3, Mize in Game 2. Those are 2 pitchers you definitely don't want to sleep on. They have some nasty stuff. I really like Games 1 matchup for the Rockies. So Game 1, it'll be Bradley Blaylock, who is 1-2 with a 5.40 ERA. He's been pitching well considering his first, 6 starts in the big leagues, right? I think that definitely gives the Rockies a chance, and he's been good. He's given the Rockies chances to win in all of his starts. I like that matchup. He'll be going up against the Tigers pitcher, Keter Montero. I think that's how you pronounce his name. 24 years of age. It looks like he's a rookie as well. He is, let me see here, 4-6 with a 5.47 ERA on the season. And for Game 2 for the Rockies, to be determined. So we don't really, according to this, we don't really know who's going to be pitching Game 2 or Game 3 for the Rockies. All we know is that Games 2 and 3 for the Tigers will be pitched by Casey Mize and Tarek Skubal, who Skubal, by the way, if you remember, was a very high, rumor, I guess, to be traded, which they didn't trade. And maybe it was a good thing. I mean, the Tigers, again, they're close, but will they make the playoffs? I don't know. I mean, again, this is a huge series for Detroit, man. I mean, if they sweep or win the series against the Rockies, that could definitely help them. But if they lose the series or get swept by the Rockies, that could be their season right there. So this is a huge series for both teams. I feel like, especially for the Tigers, but for the Rockies, if you can get 2 or 3 wins here, I mean, you could definitely have a chance to ride this into the, I guess, the sunset of the 2024 season. So again, as a Rockies fan, just, hey, like, we like what we're seeing, stay competitive. But I guess my main concern is make sure you don't sleep on the same beds that you did in 2022 when Chris Bryant hurt his back, because apparently the beds in Detroit weren't very good and hurt his back, Chris Bryant's back, if you remember, going back to 2022. So you're hoping that the Rockies can have a better hotel, better beds, and better performance than they did last time when they played the Tigers. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the last time they were in Detroit, they played against Miggy when he got his, how many career hits did he have? I know it sounds stupid because I should know.
It's over. I know he has over 3,000 hits and 500 home runs.
Yeah, so I think it was like 3,000 hits or something. It was like, I remember it was against the Rockies since Attell was pitching, but hopefully it's a better series. So, Tom, like, what are you looking at, as we head into the Tiger series?
Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing who is matched up against Schoolboy in Game 3 because it's still TBD. Another pitcher, I'm interested in Game 2. Again, White Sox fan here. I can remember when there was a lot of hype around Casey Mize when he was drafted number 1 overall by the Detroit Tigers. I do remember there was a lot on him he had a heavy fastball. He had a really crazy and tough to hit splitter. But he's just struggled with some injuries over the past several years, and he's never had that go ahead to kind of try and reach his full potential. So I'm interested to see how he pitches in Game 2. Overall, it should be a good series. Again, I've been to Comerica. It's not a bad ballpark. It's got some nice features to it, especially their their organization Hall of Fame, where they've got all the retired members and back there in right center field, in the concourse of right center field. So, and what else is there big about there? Oh, I like how they have the tiger statue on top of the scoreboard. That's pretty cool. It actually lights up at night, because I went to a day game and a night game. It actually lights up at night. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but it should be a good series. To give me a total premise, the Rockies have 18 games left, and we just talked about it's 54 wins, right? We're at 54.
Yep.
So can we get 6, 7 more, maybe 8 to make it 62 and 100? It's definitely It's feasible. I mean, when you look at not just the Tigers, I mean, we just won a series against a division leading team. So hey, if we bring our A game, anything is possible. Especially if our bullpen pitches like it did in this past series, anything's possible. And also, one last thing I'll say, I'll bring it up because we're going to be playing the Dodgers twice. Just for everybody on Shohei watch here, he has 46 home runs and 47 steals, so he's getting close to even more history. I just, real quick, I think I've said this on the podcast. I'm not sure if I have. I've said it to people privately. There's I'm a guy who just enjoys watching history happen in front of my eyes, and it's just Shohei is one of those players. I'm glad that I'm alive to see his career play out. I've seen his whole career. I hope I stay alive to see his whole career. The guy's incredible. That's all I can say. The guy is just ridiculous.
Yeah. And again, I'm not married, don't have kids yet, but hopefully one day I'll be able to tell my kids I lived when Shohei Ohtani played.
That's something you can tell your grandkids about.
Yeah. But again, it's gonna be special. It's gonna be interesting if he's gonna do that against the Rockies. It'll be kind of cool. Even though as Rockies fans, we don't want to have history made against us, even though the Rockies have made a lot of history that hasn't gone their way. But the Rockies, they've had special moments. Again, like I said, Miguel Cabrera hit his, was it 3,000 career hits in Detroit against the Rockies. Ichiro Suzuki, which I mentioned before we started, he hit his, I think also his 3,000 career hit at Coors Field.
Yeah, it was 2016 with the Marlins at Coors Field. It was a triple.
Yeah, it was a triple, and it wasn't even close. He had, elite speed, and we were talking about how, before we started, we were talking about how elite his speed was and how he could probably still play today, no question about it. He's like 50 years old, right? And so it's just like, it's amazing. I mean, guys from Japan are just built different, and so like Shohei and Ichiro, man, that like it's incredible. And of course, I'll never forget Ichiro's inside the park home run in the 2007 All-Star game.
I saw that. I remember that's that is arguably my favorite All-Star game moment ever because I watched the game live.
Well,
I wasn't live in person. I watched it the whole game because one of my things is I always watch the All-Star game because it's the only All-Star game worth watching anymore. And then I love watching it. So
I mean,
awesome.
I really look forward to when the All-Star Games goes back to San Francisco because that's just a beautiful place, beautiful ballpark. You can say what you want, how the Rockies haven't done well at that ballpark, but it's just like, come on, it's like with the Bay Area and it's just beautiful. And during the like midday, it's horrible for like players because you can't see anything because the sun's so bad. Same thing about Wrigley Field and all that, but it's got to be top 3 for most beautiful ballparks in baseball. I mean, come on, like it's beautiful. It was a great All-Star game, even though I don't remember watching it. Yeah, I was like 7 years old. I think the first All-Star game I watched was in like 2008 at the old Yankee Stadium. But yeah, I mean, I really look forward to seeing another All-Star game there, and it's going to happen soon. Again, there's kind of like the cycle of having these, different, kind of like the Olympics. You have different places where you play, kind of like assignments, and so I would imagine eventually down the road, maybe soon, that San Francisco will be on there because I know next year, of course, we'll be in Atlanta, and then the year after that, I think it's going to be in Philadelphia. I think it's Philadelphia.
It's Philly, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, Philly's going to be great too. But again, there's something about an All-Star game in San Francisco. What's another one I really liked? I liked Cincinnati. That was kind of fun. I don't remember a whole lot from that game. I just remember it was a low-scoring game, I think.
The one thing I remember from that All-Star game was that Todd Frazier, who played for the Reds at the time, won the Derby.
Yeah, that was probably the best home run derby I can remember.
So yeah, of course, I love the Washington one because again, Harper won the Derby, which makes me wonder to think, would Harper do it in Philly?
Maybe. I mean, again, he has to. Nowadays, I'm not sure if this is the case back then, but nowadays, Major League Baseball asks you, hey, do you want to participate? And a lot of them say no because they want to stay healthy.
The first thing I know Major League Baseball does, which is what they did this past year with the Adolis Garcia, they try to have one player from the hometown team in the Derby.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Oh yeah, it's a great idea.
I think it'd be cool. Maybe if it's in Philadelphia, maybe they instead go to like Alec Boehm, which he was in this year's home run derby, and he did pretty well. I mean, I'm trying to. So it was this year's finals was Hernandez and was it Bobby Witt.
Mhm.
But I remember Bohm. Bohm did a really good job this year. I thought Bohm was a sleeper pick to win it. And Bohm looked really good. He just kind of ran out of gas there at the end.
I just took the safe bet with the polar bear.
Yeah, and he didn't do so well.
Boy,
Yeah,
boy, was I wrong.
yeah, and I'm trying to remember who. Oh yeah, I picked Odolis Garcia, and Garcia wasn't bad. It's just that again he ran out of gas at the end. I mean, again, he wasn't the worst, but like I feel like again that's why I didn't pick Pete Alonso again because I knew that over the last couple of times I picked him, he didn't do well. Like the one time I picked him in 2019, he did well, but after that, no, thank you. So, oh man. But anyways, I'm just excited for for Otani and what he's going to be able to do, with this record. It's going to be record breaking. Everybody in baseball is going to be on it. It's going to be incredible with this, potential 50-50 season. It's going to happen. We're just waiting for when to happen. But still, I mean, this is historic. And I think everybody in baseball should be. This is a proud moment. I don't care if you're a Giants fan, Rockies fan, or a Yankees fan, or a fan of the any team in baseball. Really, it's a special moment and should be honored for sure. Yeah, I mean, again, it's crazy that we're already down to the last, really 2 weeks of the season, 2.5 weeks. It's crazy where this season has gone by already, but we only have I think we only have like 5 or 6 of these Rockies recaps left of the year until we start getting into our regular podcast during the off season. But we just want to say a big thank you once again. We did this last week. Or during their last recap. But we just want to thank you all for listening and tuning into these Rockies recaps. We really appreciate it. If you have any comments, or questions, just feel free to hit us up on Twitter. Our handles are right below our names here on the screen. Tom, he has his. I have mine right there in the white box. So again, hit us up. Give us your questions. If you have any, again, comments, questions, let us know. We would love to talk with you and talk baseball. That's what we love to do. That's why we do this, right? Yeah, again, thank you so much for watching. Again, if you want to stay tuned for more Rockies recaps, or if you want to watch past Rockies recaps, go follow us on YouTube. Every one of them is there. So again, we have a YouTube channel. Go check us out there for Rockies recaps. And if you don't follow us on Instagram, Threads, or X, feel free to do so. As you can see below, you can go follow us at Rockies Now on those channels and those pages as well for top-notch Rockies baseball content, because we do that every single day throughout the entire season and during the offseason as well for off-season updates and news and all that good stuff. So again, thank you so much for your support and love for Rockies Now. We're excited. It's only going up from here. All right. From Tom and myself, we'd like to thank you for watching tonight's edition of the Rockies recap episode. As always, go Rockies.